Hello and welcome to Grace of Mr. Friday live stream. It's Con here. Thank you everyone for joining me today. It's good to see you. Hope everyone is doing well in the crazy world we live in. So hopefully you enjoy your photography, enjoy the sunny weather whenever you are. And yeah, let's say hello to everyone who's in the chat. We got John Hughes here, Jacob, John Rayleigh, Eric Laurie, Michael Reed, Jay Blue, Raimo, Nick Harrison, Paris Nelman, Simon Ma, Perry Lyson, Andy Hayden is in the chat, Edward Strawson. As I say, Edward, I don't deal with the Nikon Owner on admin side of things, so I don't know the plans are. So if you just email to Katrin at Nikon Owner magazine, then she'll answer your question. Tadeusz is in the chat, Colin Murphy, Trevor Rudkin, Colin Brahma, Oda Higher Engler, Dave Walker, Dave Thompson, Michael Ledley, Robert M., Jim Lamb, Jim Porth, Richard Holland, David Muscora, Simon Hopkinson, Frank Pishmel, everyone is here. Len Oshman, Michael Davenport, Seth is in the chat. Hello, Seth. Long time no see. Good to see you as well. And Pete Gazzola. Thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Konstantin. Still coughing, unfortunately. I don't know why it's lingering so long, but yeah, it is what it is. I'll try to do my best not to talk too much, but it's a solo live stream, so I have to talk. So today, I thought, what we're going to talk about? Maybe we're going to talk about what gets you into photography, you know, kind of a general conversation about photography, what gets you going, what gets you to go out and take some images. But we've got some goodies that Nikon sent me for some reviews. So I got 35mm 1.2 today. I've got the Coolpix P1100. So this is my kind of first time in person with those. I saw the 35mm at video show at Battersea about a month ago, the one that I recorded the interview with Bruno there. But I haven't actually played with it. So today is kind of the first day, and then tomorrow I'm going to see Becky and we're going to film some reviews on this. So again, for some of you who want to say hello to Becky, let me know in the chat. I will pass it on. I also have Z5II here. So again, like I had to play with it when Bruno was here last week, but now I actually have it in my possession. No one is staring at me when I'm looking at it. When I'm trying to figure out how to use this camera, it's easy. It's the same as all other Nikon cameras, but it's mine now and I can do whatever I want with it. So that's what we have. Also have ZF just had a firmware upgrade, so I'm going to try to do that as well. Let's have a look at that. But you all know that there is no live stream without you in the chat, so please ask me some Nikon-related questions in the chat by putting QQQ right in front of the question, because it makes my life easier. I'm going to have I'm going to have a coffee with you, and Coffee Fund is open, so let's have a coffee together as well. And let's start rolling. So, first of all, thank you very much, Jay Blue. He says, happy ZF firmware update Friday. Yes, that firmware update is pretty good, actually. I've kind of looked at the notes, and it's a massive update. That's why it's 2.0, and it's not like 1.2 or 1.3, you know. Interesting things for me personally. Obviously, we got Nikon Cloud support. So that comes with a basically picture controls or film simulation recipes, which you can download straight from the cloud. Basically, you can also, if you registered for Nikon Cloud, you can also upload your images there, all sorts of things. So that's cool. Personally, again, bird subject detection. I know a lot of you were asking in the chat about that, so that's quite useful to have. Glad it came into Nikon ZF, and I'm sure it will come to other cameras as well, like Z6 III. But kind of couple exciting things for me is also ISO sensitivity control performance. So now we can actually set the ISO we want to use with the knob. And then apparently if you set it to C, it's automatic ISO. And then if you set your ISO on the knob, so let's say 200 ISO, so it can continue to use auto ISO, but it's not going to go above 200, which is quite useful as well. And there's some manual focus lens improvements, which I found quite interesting. So now you can zoom in with manual focus lenses by pressing shutter release button in half. My button normally sounds okay at the back. And now you can go apparently to 400% instead of, let's say, 100 or 200. So that's quite useful for me personally. And you can also add aperture settings to active data. So I use a lot of Voigtlander Leica mount lenses on my Nikon ZF. This is not mine. This is just a demo. But yeah, this is going to be quite useful for some of you who like to record their aperture settings and all sorts of active data. If you're shooting film, that's, I guess, you know, like I never bothered with all those things. But for some of you who want to see the difference, what let's say 1.8 aperture does over a 4, then all those things are there. So I did find it quite interesting overall, but there's a bunch of video updates. There's a bunch of other things as well. You can have a look at it. So haven't updated mine yet. Going to do mine tonight, but I've updated this demo one. So I was playing it just before the live stream here. So let's have a look at your comments and questions in the chat here. Eric is asking what happened to Nikon NEF codec updates. Well, I have no idea. I'm not Nikon, Eric, but maybe it says it's withdrawn. I'm pretty sure that they wouldn't just disappear, so they will reappear again. Let's wait for another week and see what happens. That's what I would say. You know, it's like generally, let's say if you're on Mac, you don't need to download NEF because kind of your Mac OS will update this. For Windows, you would download those. Like I never bothered with that personally, never been interested in that. You know, but article comes out, people ask questions. I would say, let's give it another week and see what happens. I personally think they didn't disappear. Maybe they will move to somewhere else. So, yeah, let's see. Michael Reed says, hello, Con and everyone. Just in time this week, been grass cutting, dog walking, and photography. My local photographing my local buzzards with Z500 in 500p. That's a good setup. Fun day. Now to chill with coffee with Con. Thank you very much, Michael. I'm glad you had a very fruitful day, I would say. I am looking forward to tomorrow. So me and Becky are going to film things. We're going to London, I think. So looking forward to this, actually trying the equipment. Due to kind of my commitment to a lot of different projects, I don't really have time to go out and actually take some pictures, which is kind of a mission, but it has been a bit of a roller coaster for the last, let's say, couple of months. So when I can get a day where I can actually take the camera out and actually do some photography, that is absolutely amazing for me. Speaking of which, remember we have a photography challenge, which is called My Hometown. So far, it's been 2 weeks, right? I have zero submissions. And it tells me two things. First of all, we voted all for this. Maybe I oversold you on this, but it tells me two things. A, maybe it's too difficult for viewers to actually think about the project, and and maybe it's easier for us just to do a very simple topic like wildlife, and then you can just say, oh, I'm gonna send a picture of a bird, or street photography, or I'm just gonna like maybe this topic is overcomplicated. Let me know in the comments below. But so far I had zero submission, and that means either you people creating a project to send me, so you're taking time, or no one bothered because maybe it's too complicated from the idea, concept point of view. I mean, from a photography point of view, you can do whatever you want. Could be a macro photography, could be a street photography, could be a landscape, all sorts of things. But for 2 weeks, I haven't seen any submissions, which is very interesting. Normally we get over 100. So, let me know in the comments below, because maybe we should scrap all that if you're not interested. Because if I'm going to have like 5 submissions, well, I mean, you're going to get all the views. Or maybe you want to submit like a project. So instead of, let's say, 1 image, you want to submit 3 or 4 images, and we have to go this way. So I want to hear your opinions about that topic as well. Let me know. More questions and more comments in the chat. JW, I'd be happy to hear Con do some freestyle verse in today's live stream. Once I have my stage voice back, I will do some freestyling, some old school hip hop. How about that? Something from the 80s. That would be good. All right, more questions here. Simon Ma is in the chat. Hello from Toronto, Canada. Have a wonderful show and delicious cup of coffee or two. Have a question for you. Is there any reason not to update my Nikon Z firmware? Is there any drawbacks? Well, I don't think there's any drawbacks to upgrading anyone's firmware of any cameras, unless it comes out and you start to see reports there's some bug in there. And generally, it doesn't happen very often, but it did happen in the past. Generally, when this happens, Nikon releases a firmware 2.01 in a few days, and they say that, they normally come out within a day or two just with a bug fix and things like this. So again, obviously, all firmware updates are generally being rigorously tested by their team. So I assume that in most cases, it's fine. If you want to be on the safe side, give it, let's say, 3-4 days before the upgrade. And then if you don't see, let's say, Nikon rumors reporting those things, then you should be fine. So that's kind of my take on this. I don't upgrade my firmware on days one because I simply don't have time. I normally upgrade it when I know that I'm going to need a camera for a shoot. Let's say tomorrow we're going to film, so why won't I upgrade my firmware tonight? Because we're going to film on Nikon ZF, so I can test more features with it. So that's kind of my thinking. But if we wouldn't shoot for another 2 weeks, I probably wouldn't update it in 2 weeks and things like this. So, okay, so let's go further down the road and see what other questions you may have. Hello, and hit that like button. Thank you, Andy. We always appreciate your nudge to everyone. Host Mita is from Bulgaria. Hello, how are you? Hope it's nice and sunny there as well as in London. It's 20 degrees up here. I mean, I'd rather be sitting in the park and having a live stream with you, but knowing our internet connection history, we probably won't do that. So ever. Simon confirming that audio and video quality is 5 out of 5. That's amazing. You can see me. I can't see you. But you know what? I'm going to do a silly joke. I've got this Coolpix P1100. It can zoom in up to 3,000 times. So it says on the lens here between 4.3 and 539 millimeters focal distance. So I think it's equivalent to 3,000 millimeters focal distance. So Simon, I think I can see you. We're fully zoomed in. You know, it's a compact camera when you have a zoom like this. So it's a beast. It's definitely a chungus, I would say. Overall, the camera feels like P1000. Even like, let's say, the viewfinder and the back feels more or less the same. But it's got a USB-C port and it allows for internal charging, which is very useful. So that's what it is. But it is, I think, the most uncompact camera from all compact cameras. So it feels amazing. I'm sure that if you want to see people on Mars or the moon, you can do that for sure. All right, I'm going to scroll down the chat. Let's see what else is here. Let's see. Seth says, I tried to show the image quality out of it in our video that you can push commercial looks out of it. I don't know what it's all about, but I'm sure I missed your previous comment, Seth. So let's go further down. Jay Blue says, would you please say hello to Becky and tell her we hope all is well with her and her family? Definitely, Jay Blue. I will pass it on. I always pass it on when I see her because she likes that you appreciate her. That's the thing. And we don't have much time together. We have to kind of try to film once or maybe twice a month. And it's normally on the weekends. So because we both have jobs, you know, so, but when we see, I always pass it on and, you know, we just enjoy each other's company. So tomorrow, I don't know if you can fit 3 videos. The plan was for this week is to film the main video, Z35mm, proper test, proper review, and then just fun stuff with this, you know. So, but the Z5 Mark II arrived. People don't get those things before the release very often. So I think the priority will be to shoot those 2 guys tomorrow and this, whatever happens. So that's the plan for Saturday, which is tomorrow. Let's go further down the chat and let's see what else people say. I like the kind of when I see that the chat is actually talking, that like a lot of messages popping up, I know that you guys engaging with me, which is nice. Because sometimes, yeah, like especially during the interviews, it's a bit more difficult because obviously we kind of talk, you know, to the second person, you know, in the video. So with those things, yeah, I can see that the chat may be not as performing as well as we want to be. But I'm glad that you are asking me questions, that you are talking in the chat, and it's always a pleasure to see you all. Seth Miranda says Z5II is great. You know, my thinking was when Z6III came out, right, it was too close in price to Z8. And a lot of people bought Z8 when Z6III was announced. Z6III sold well on the announcements, but then Z8 also sold well. And then Z6III, once the prices kind of settled down a little bit, started to definitely improve sales. And it's a fantastic seller for Nikon. Now, Z5II in the UK, we're talking to UK prices because UK prices don't change. If you in the United States, I don't know what the prices are nowadays. I think we should just change every day, you know, we'll see what happens. But in the UK, the price of this camera is 1599, right? And that's including 20% VAT. The price of Z6 III is 2499, so including VAT, tax. £900 difference. For £900 difference, this gets you a lot of Z6 III tech. This is, in my opinion, is absolutely amazing. Okay, let's do the screen peel. This is nice. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's a wonderful feeling. Still warm, straight from the oven. So for £900 difference, this camera gets you a lot of Z6 III tech. So overall, I personally think that Z5II is a better value for money than Z6 III. There are obviously certain features where Z6 III is a lot better. So if you're a video guy, there's certain video settings that are better on Z6 III, of course. It's partially stacked sensors, so autofocus will perform better, especially for sports and wildlife photography. But for general photography, this is a good value for money. However, it's not $999 camera, it's not $1299 when the original Z5 was real. So because the prices have gone up, and it's $1599, and from kind of feedback on the internet, we're getting that everyone is really happy about like this camera from the point of specifications. But for the price, it's like a lot of people say it's a fair price, but it's not exactly entry level at 1599 because for a lot of people, it's a lot of money to spend on the camera. So that's the thing. But if you have to pay additional £900 to go to Z6 III, I think this is a better value. So this is kind of my opinion about it. It's absolutely amazing camera. I agree with you, Seth. For the value, you get a lot of Z6 III tech effectively. So I'll pass it on, Michael. Yes, I'll say hello to Becky. David, the Drunk Menu photographer, is in the chat. Hello, David. Good to see you. I was thinking about your chickens the other day. You probably have a lot of money with all the eggs you've got. You know, your chicken are laying. So, but I actually looked at the picture I've taken with you with the chicken, and the other day I need to send it to you. Actually, it's a good shot because you've got some cherries at the back, and I think it was So it was a great shot. I saw you in the chat. I'm gonna try to send it to you in the next couple of days. Hopefully, I remember. All right, let's go down the chat, see what else is there. I'm gonna catch up with you. Hello, Ivy Poison. Good to see you. So Craig C says, yeah, we now have ISO settings for the C and manual values on the dial, which is a massive fix. And I think this was our main complaint about Nikon ZF because we did find it to be a bit weird the way the Nikon was handling things. So I'm glad that Firmware 2 eventually, obviously it took a while, but they fixed it to a degree. And that just shows that Nikon is listening to your feedback. That's the thing. So this is very important. So we know that we're being heard, you know. Sometimes we're not being heard with a, let's say, D500 replacement, and you know a lot of people have different opinions about it, you know. But certain things are being fixed, and you know, and I think that's absolutely amazing. So Host Meta from Bulgaria says, I was wondering if the Nikon ZF with pixel shift would be great for scanning film negatives, and what lens would be the one for the job. Okay, so you effectively get a 96 megapixel image, which is pretty good, let's be honest. It's 100 megapixels, it's about 10,000 pixels roughly. No, it's close to 12,000 pixels or something. So pretty good. Realistically speaking, will you extract more information out of your negative? That's arguable. You definitely will get a large file. I can tell you more. I've taken this concept even further. And I've scanned with the GFX 100S, which is 100 megapixel camera to start with a pixel shift. So effectively, I think I was giving you 400 megapixels. I don't know how many megapixels I was giving. You guys can Google it. Realistically speaking, did I still see the difference between 100 megapixels and 400 megapixels? No. I mean, you're getting higher magnification. You really need to have a really good lens for this. But I would say you will see an improvement. Overall, I wouldn't say that you'll get like a lot of improvements because technically, if you scan your negative with 45 megapixel camera, you probably will get a little bit, a little bit more out of it as well. But 100 megapixel is a bit of a stretch realistically. So you can try if you want to get this additional, let's say maybe 2-3% of the performance for your negatives, then you should be fine. In terms of lenses, unfortunately, I can't give you an advice because I haven't scanned with Nikon cameras for that, but on the GFX, I use GFX to Pentax 645 adapter, and I use 200 f4 Pentax medium format f4 lens. And this performs much better than any Fuji native GFX macro lenses. It's another level. And we're talking about effectively the corners, that's the suffer. Because I tried their macro lens. It didn't work so well because sensor is super sharp. The corners are soft. Doesn't matter how much you stop it down. So that Pentax lens performed really well. So you can technically use that Pentax lens on the Nikon one. I haven't tried 50 or 105 for that particular use. I'm going to check with Becky if she tried. But realistically speaking, all my scans, and I should film mostly. I run a photo lab, so we have access. We have professional scanners like Norito scanners, like HS 1800 and LS 600, 35mm formats, and Fujifilm Frontier scanners. So we have all this in our lab. I still, for personal work, I prefer to scan with Coolscan 9000 because the scans that are delivered for medium format outperforms anything else. You get about 100 megapixel scan, it's like 12,000 on 6x7 negative. And this is by far is the best, but it's by far the slowest way because one scan on the highest possible setting for me is about 25 to 27 minutes. So if I have to go through a roll of 10 shots or for a medium format roll, that's what I do. For 35mm, I just go with HS 1800 scanner, which is Norito scanner. It does really well. DSLR scanning is very useful for home use. I recommend this, but again, if I have to, even now to choose, let's say, Nikon Coolscan over SLR scanning, I probably would choose Coolscan. One thing we need to keep in mind that when we're doing DSLR scanning, let's say mirrorless scanning, we don't have IC, which is dust removal for color. For black and white, it doesn't matter. For color, it does. So if you have a lot of dusty negatives, it's a lot of extra work. So you may get your, let's say, roll done within, let's say, 3 minutes or 36 shots, but then you may spend a lot more time in the post-processing. Well, let's say proper scanners, they have IC, so they will remove dust for you. So there's a kind of trade-off to this. But this is my not direct answer to the things. The advice there, if you can get a lens, macro lens with a flat profile, like let's say a larger lens or the lens designed for copy work, that's where they would perform really well. Like I think they still Schneider lenses being produced for copying work. They're amazing, but it will cost you, I think, about 1,000. Then you will need to get a certain adapter. But the Pentax 645 lens, you can adapt it to Nikon Z mount. It's absolutely amazing. You see, you're starting to ask me about film photography. I can talk for hours. But yeah, thanks for this question. Let's go further down and see what's happening in the chat. Pepper says, thank you, Nikon, for firmware update. Had a great photo walk. I think everyone is enjoying it. I mean, I'm just looking at the comments, even like on Nikon Rumors. Everyone is absolutely buzzing about this firmware update, which is absolutely amazing. Art Bear in the chat, hello, how are you? And he says, what is that 5 shutter rated for life expectancy? I haven't seen any standard shutter expectancy. I think it's about 200,000. I will check on that, but this is kind of generally on a lot of them. So could be more, could be less. But 200 is kind of a standard figure with there. I will have a look at this. If I'll find it, I'll let you know. All right. J Blue says that NEF and NRW codecs have been gone for several months. I asked Nikon USA support about it, and they have no answer at all. So there is something happening there. Whatever is happening, I have no idea. Again, on a personal level, not a great loss. If actually, tell me in the chat if you actually. Like, I've downloaded it once, I think, throughout the existence. But if you really can't live without it, let me know in the chat. I want to hear that. Uh, Andy tells me his opinion about my hometown photography challenge. He said the weather has been awful to get my hometown image. Well, we still have time. We still have time. I think we agreed to end of the month challenge. I will see if this week, let's say, I'll start to see more submissions into photography challenge and hometown photography challenge. Then we'll proceed from there. But if I'm not going to see many submissions, then we'll just scrap it, because clearly you won't be interested in that. So it's a little kind of a nudge for you. So maybe, you know, so if you were feeling like getting out and you want to prove me wrong, you know, I believe in you. So definitely, you know, hometown image could be anything. That's the thing. It could be like from abstract to wildlife to street to macro, all sorts of things. I want your interpretation. And as I say, maybe if you feel like that 2 or 3 images will do a better kind of job for you describing your hometown, why won't we try this? The only thing what I would want you to do is if you can create the image with 3 shots on it so I can show it as one. And we can discuss this, because maybe, yes, as I say, it's not just a random image, let's say, of a bird or, let's say, you know, some sport or something. Maybe it requires a little bit more thought. I don't know. You tell me. I want to hear from you in the chat. All right, let's go further and see what we have. Simon Hopkins says, asking, do the Z9 and Z8 have a shutter life expectancy? And if so, what would be expected to fail? I personally don't think they have shutter expectancy because it's electronic shutter. Never thought of it, to be honest with you. Now I'm confused. I don't think it has a shutter expectancy, realistically speaking. What's funny is the Fuji, I think, still doesn't have shutter count. So you are not able, at least on the XF DX cameras, from what I understand. So a lot of people, when they sell their camera, says, "Oh, my count is just based on what the number is on my JPEGs," you know. So, but I think, yeah, I don't know if they have a life expectancy, because effectively it's electronic shutter. Let's see in the chat. Nick says, Isabella Plantation, Richmond Park, is exceedingly floral at the moment. If you and Becky need a location tomorrow, I think we're gonna probably do probably St. James, Trafalgar, Piccadilly, maybe Big Ben, something around Victoria, because we want to film it quick in 3 different locations and go home. So yeah, we're not traveling too far. You know, Richmond is going to be additional hour of travel. So we try to keep it very central. Or London Bridge, who knows? Who knows? But somewhere within, let's say, London Central. So center of Zone 1, let's say. Ron says, topic is not overly complicated. So Ron, I am expecting submission from you. So again, speaking of submissions, small resolution file, so that will work for 1080p live stream. Email it to media, MEDIA, at graysoverwestminster.co.uk, media at graysoverwestminster.co.uk. I want to hear what this image is about, little short story if you can, not necessary, and your technical specifications like shutter speed, ISO, aperture setting, etc. So, you know, and your equipment. So because some of us who are watching those shows, they want to know what equipment was taken in, so then they can think, oh, maybe I need that lens to produce this effect, etc. So, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I want to see some submissions. Let's go down the chart. Robert from Portugal, hello. How can I activate the focus meter on non-CPU lenses? Can you be a little bit more specific what you're trying to achieve here, please? And we will go further down. So technically, all manual focus lenses, if you've got Nikon ZF, you will have eye recognition if you want to. So it is possible you get a little square and you can zoom in as well, and you can confirm the focus. That has been on Nikon ZF from day one. Thank you, Vince. He says, have a coffee with Becky. I will. Thank you very much. Robert, okay, I can see you says Z5. So that's your answer, Robert. Unfortunately, Z5 doesn't have that functionality for manual focus lenses. So that's what it is. Unfortunately, it came with the later cameras, like Nikon ZF. So perhaps Z5II will improve on that. You see, so maybe that's where the upgrade would be worth doing. So Ron is asking where to send submission. Yes, it's media@graceosmith.co.uk. I'm glad I answered that. So that's good news. Wow, you guys been chatty, very talkative. I need to catch up with you. Okay, let me try. Let me see if I can go really quickly then, because I'm trying to answer everything. Dave Walker is asking, are you likely to stock the Acres perspective filters again? Could you use one of my for my 135 planner? Unfortunately, we want they're Japanese only, so not available for us. Nikon UK and Nikon Europe don't stock them, unfortunately. All right, so hi Simon, I saw you. It's a magic of this Zoom again. This is just, I mean, is there anything else I have to say? That's what I call a zoom lens. All right. Let's go further. Okay, I'm going to try to be really, really quick. So, Jacob, what UHS 2 SD cards do you use in your Nikon ZF? I use the Delkin memory cards, UHS 2 cards. I think it's a series called Prime. That's something that we stock in the store, and that's what I have access to, and I buy them. I think they're very good cards. Overall, to be honest with you, you don't need to go for the latest card for for Nikon ZF unless you shoot in video a lot and you want to have a high bit rate codec, let's say, with it. But overall, any standard SD card should perform as well. But yeah, Delkin Prime series is that what I normally have on my Nikon ZF, and I think I have 1 terabyte as micro SD card. Whatever is there, I don't even remember, because I'll tell you why. I put it in there and I forgot about it. So it's just there, it's sitting there. It always works as a backup, and I never actually took it out of the camera. So, but it is there. Okay, J Blue is asking, would you attach the 35mm f1.2 to Z5? It'd be good to see how it works and handles. Okay, yeah, let's do this, because actually I haven't put this camera yet. So this is Z5 Mark II. This is a 35 1.2. And this is, for me, the first time I am trying this lens. I mean, a part of the, the expo that we had, video expo in Battersea Park. Okay, let's have a look. Let's stick it to aperture priority. And I'm just looking at the bokeh at 1.2, and autofocus A first, really, really good. The bokeh is wonderful. Oh, yeah. Nikon knows how to do their lenses. I mean, they're big and chunky, right? They are not cheap, but they're sharp. And 1.2, you buy, let's say, you can buy like a 1.2 lens for £500–600. It's not going to be, in terms of sharpness, anyway as good. They give you 1.2, it won't give you the same sharpness. I mean, I'm just, like looking at, it's just different beast, really. And obviously having autofocus, that's pretty good. That's, autofocus is very snappy. But hopefully, Jake, that gives you kind of a good idea what it handles. It's not light, I can tell you this. I am feeling my hand, but maybe I should exercise a bit more. Full stop, really. Should just generally exercise. I mean, not a bit more, but actually start to exercise. So, yeah. So this feels good. This feels good. That feels robust. What I can tell you that what I like again with the Z5II over Z5 is just deeper grip. Obviously, the grip is now more or less kind of identical to Z6III. It's nice and deep. For a lens like this is very useful. This is definitely very useful to have. All right, so Vin says, recently in Sri Lanka, in the national parks, most of the local pros had 402.8 S lenses, etc., but so many of them also carried P1000. Well, that's good to hear. I mean, this is something that, again, very niche camera, but I'm glad that Nikon is doing it, because I don't really see anyone else is doing it. So, which is quite good. Yeah, David has also good recommendation for Host Meto. He says, have a look at Kyle McDougall video on YouTube. So he does film scanning. So that's good. I think he also uses GFX. I think the 200mm Pentax came from his video actually, because I was on lookout for one. So, and I tried all sorts of different lenses. So yeah, Kyle McDougall is really good for that type of thing. Definitely recommend. Okay, thank you, Randall. He has a question how to contact you at your Gray's email address so we can send you the pictures for submission. So media@graysoverwestminster.co.uk, media@graysoverwestminster.co.uk. So media, I'm just going to type it up, obviously, media at, so at obviously replaced with a sign. Grays of Westminster. Can we all spell Westminster correctly? Yes, we can. Okay. Here we go. So I'm just going to put it in chat. So have a look. Obviously replace at with a sign and you should be golden. All right. So Booba from Brown says, have my Coolpix P1100. Going to give it a good run tomorrow. Will be interesting to see your fun stuff con. Well, what I'm going to do, as we always love to do, we just like to point at things and see how far we can zoom in. Like, you know, so that's what we're going to do. So, but again, hopefully you'll have enough time. I know that these guys are going to take a little bit more time to film because they need proper attention. This is something we like, but as I say, we're not really using those cameras. So for us, we'll try to film and we'll try to have fun for sure. You know, and hopefully you have enough time. That's the thing. If not, I guess we'll ask to extend our loan for another week or something like this. All right, let's go down the chat and have a look. Craig C says, a big surprise for me is that Z5II with Z5II is that is compatible with two already existing native grips, NBN11 and NBN14. Yes, this is interesting because it is the first camera that does it. I absolutely agree with you. I can tell you that those battery packs are not really amazing sellers for us. I feel like our DSLR grips were selling better than Nikon Z grips. So maybe that's the reason, but who knows? I don't really know. But normally, like when I had D850, I bought a grip for my D850 for studio work. For Z8, I'm not really looking into it because not a big fan of that particular grip design. I feel like that D850 grip looks a little bit neater, a little bit smaller. For Z8, they kind of extended. It also looks bigger than Z9, you know. So I feel like if they would make them a little bit more slimline, that would be a better choice. But yes, definitely, I think it's a good design choice for Z5II to take both grips. Thank you, Oldehigh Angler, so for the email address. We all know the email address now, so please send me your submissions because otherwise we don't have challenge. That's the thing. I just thought, yeah, no submissions. Maybe the topic is a bit too difficult. Maybe we'll be overthinking it because normally, what did we have last time? Remind me, people. What did we have last time? What challenge did we have last time? I forgot, but it was a lot of submissions. Was it night photography? I think it was night photography. So yeah, a lot of submissions there. I think over 100 or something. So for this one is zero, nada for the time being. So definitely, I want to see your images. Let's see. Thank you very much, Kirill. He says, hi, Con. Should we expect Nikon Imaging Cloud or Nikon Z8 in your opinion, or is this camera too professional for that? I think we will definitely see Nikon Imaging Cloud on all the cameras, including Z8 and Z9. And I think the only reason for that not being there is, as Bruno explained, that the way it works is basically it's done when it's done. And it's done to one camera. They don't do a global release to all cameras. So it seems like they just, whatever is done first, they release it. And they try to work on that later on. So that's the thing. I think we still have, like Z9 still doesn't have pixel shift as far as I'm, yeah, I think I'm correct on this one. So, which is again, interesting why, let's say, if Z8 has a pixel shift and Z9 doesn't, what's the differences? Well, technically they should have the same thing. So there's some challenges that needs to be implemented. There's certain things that needs to be done. So for them to appear. So Kirill, I personally think that it's a matter of time. It's, you know, it definitely will happen. That's my opinion about that. Ivy is asking, is there any rumors regarding FTZ adapter with AF motor? No, not on my end, unfortunately. it would be nice though. It would be nice. I agree. Craig C finally picked up his 180-600, which has already exceeded his expectations. Fantastic. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Let's see. I'm going to have a sip. My coffee is getting cold. Okay, did I catch up? No, there's a lot more. Okay, here we go. David, the drunk wedding photographer, is asking, did anyone enter the recent Nikon photo contest? I tried, but the upload process never worked on my end. I would just email them. Normally there's an email where you can contact them. So, David, yeah, definitely drop them a line. Simon will submit his hometown image. Fantastic. Fantastic. That sounds good. How many hometown images do we submit? I have a few to submit from film, Jim. So Jim is asking this question, and I personally think if you can make it work as a project, the only way I will show several images is to be basically like 2 or 3 images on one screen. So in a row. So I'm not going to show them separately image by image. So they have to work as a project. If they don't work as a project, then don't submit them. But if you think they work as a project, then submit them as one image of 3. So either white or black background, whatever you want. And obviously it's 1080p screen, so that's how you will, we will present them. So Jim, yeah, that's because unfortunately, if we, the problem with this, if I have 5 people submitted their images, then I can show, basically 20 images from each photographer. But if we have over 100 submissions and everyone submits 3-4 images, then we're going to be sitting here probably till the end of next month's challenge. So that's the thing. So my advice is, if you're planning to submit it as several images, then put them on the white background as one image. That's how it will work. So if it doesn't work this way, then unfortunately I'm not going to be able to show all of them. I'll just choose the best one. So that's my thinking behind it. But I feel like if you're submitting several images, they have to work at a project. So if, let's say, if you go wildlife and you send me 2 pictures of 2 birds, then I'll just choose 1 bird. So if it's a hometown, then 2 images have to complement each other, if you see what I mean. So they have to, feel like it's a part of the same project, if you see what I mean. So with those things, as obviously, like from my school days, my teacher used to ask me, why are you using this image? Why does this image exist? So, why did you use them, those 2 images together side by side? So that's kind of the questions that I've been asked when we're doing what we call crit, yeah, when we're all showing our images and criticizing each other, or let's say, well, not really criticizing, but more like, let's say, giving feedback. And those are the questions being asked. Why did you use the image? Why did you show this image? What was the reason? It wasn't about, oh, your Nikon Z8 is super nice, and what aperture did you use? No, it was more about like, why does this image exist and why do you think it's worth our time? So that's where kind of the background, educational background I came from when I did my national diploma in photography in the UK. So what I'm saying is, if we submitted several images, yeah, they have to work. That's what it is. Maybe I'm too critical, but that's the idea. That's the idea. I want you guys to to work a little bit extra for those, because I think we can push each other, and we can definitely push each other as photographers to do, to try to achieve, well, first of all, come out of our kind of normal comfort zone, but also, yeah, try to produce work that is, that we feel like, okay, yeah, I'm proud of. That's what I'm saying. So, so yes, definitely you can. Well, I would say maybe how many images can fit on one screen? Probably I wouldn't go 4, maybe 3, 2 or 3. So that's what it is. Let's see. As I say, this one is open a little bit, so it's not our standard one. This is the type of photography just goes in images. We're trying something different this time, and that's why like let's see where it takes us. Maybe we're gonna come back to more kind of simple topics next time if it doesn't go well. But let's experiment and let's see if you like it as well. Okay, let's have a look in the chat. Carl is asking why there is no RAW support for multiple exposures on that cameras, unlike DSLRs. Carlos, can you just rephrase this question? I'm not quite sure what you're asking, but we will come back to that. Mizi, you saw my answer on where to upload the images. That's good. David's got his D500 back again. It's arrived yesterday from Japan. 40,000 shots, mint condition. I really want to crop sensor because I'm shooting minor league baseball this summer, and it gives you 1.5 crop, which is very useful. Absolutely. Well done. Congratulations. Hopefully it wasn't one of those mint plus cameras cracked cracked viewfinder or something like this. So hopefully it's truly mint, not just as a description on eBay. So and I'm sure you'll enjoy this camera. It's absolutely amazing. And since you had one before, I'm sure it will bring the old memories to you. And I'm going to enjoy my Nikon 28 Ti, which I'm still going through with the roll. So I have the 35 Ti and 28 Ti now side by side, which I'm really happy about. They're nice cameras. Like, those are the cameras that I feel like they definitely look the parts. With those watch dials on top of the cameras, I think they just beautiful objects. But obviously great lenses on them as well. So definitely shooting my first roll, very excited by the 28 Ti, and I have 2 cameras now, which is nice. All right, let's see. Did I have anything on my list? Oh, yeah, 28135 is shipping, by the way, but a small supply. So we've received 1 unit. We still have quite a few back orders to fulfill. But yes, it did start to ship. And yes, we effectively, what we told that the pre-order list is quite high. Z5II will be shipping around something around 24th, 26th of April. Those kind of current news on this. Z5II, Nikon Japan announced that it will be in a short supply because, again, we have too many pre-orders. So for some of you who ordered Z5II, well, hopefully you'll get one on your day one. We as a shop, we give you for pre-orders either free Peak Design backpack, or you can choose a different bundle, which is memory card and the battery to go with your Z5II. So those are available for pre-orders. If you're interested, definitely have a look into that. Yeah, that's all I had on my list. So let's go back to the comments in the chat as well. I am actually, one thing I'm going to try to figure out, I haven't figured out yet, but they say that with manual focus lenses on ZF, you can now press shutter release button in half to zoom in, which is quite interesting. We haven't had that before. So I have mine set to OK button. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Of course. This is FTZ Mark I. So at the moment I have 2 OK buttons set, so I want to really see if I can set it to shutter release button. So that's going to be quite useful because it frees up the OK button to do something else, which is quite nice. I had the opportunity to test Z9 with movie 28135 f4 lens, and it was really astonishing. Glad you enjoyed. I had to play at a video show, but again, we are looking forward to receiving a loan unit and playing with this. Jim says, by the way, thanks for 2872.8D recommendation. I actually owned that lens before and had sold it for other gear. Glad to own it again. It's sharp and loving the 20mm 35 2.8D. Those are amazing lenses. Obviously, maybe not like a perfect fit for manual focus camera, like let's say FM2, FM3, but they're usable, absolutely. And optically, they're very good as well. Yes, I went through 1735 and 28-70. 28-70 is the one I had before I had money to buy 24-72.8G. You know, so again, one of those lenses that I'm really fond of. I do find that 28-70D had more neutral rendering of skin tones compared to 24-72.8G, which had a little bit more saturated colors. For me as a studio portrait guy, definitely enjoying 28-70 more for that type of work. But yeah, the 24-70 was upgraded for events type of work, and it did well because at that point I was shooting on my 85 prime for portrait and 50 primes. But yeah, beautiful lens. Still have really good kind of fond memories of that lens. With 28-70, because it's AFS type lens, keep in mind that this the autofocus mode is prone to failure, so ideally you want to use this lens quite often. If you start to see this, to hear the squeak sound, some like normally it goes away and it's fine. Sometimes maybe a sign of the autofocus failure eventually, but it may work for another, let's say, 20 years. It may fail within the next day. So that's kind of, unfortunately, those are the first built-in autofocus motor lenses, and unfortunately, those particular lenses, yeah, like they have this issue. So it's all line of lenses like 1735, 2870, H200 AFS 2.8D, and also 400, 500, 600 prime that came out around the same time. Robert White, I didn't catch the maximum size of hometown photo. So our live stream is 1080p. So if you can send me a 2000 pixels wide maximum image, that should be fine. Under 10 meg, I don't need a RAW file. I don't need the full resolution file because it will be wasted on this live stream. So in terms of this, yeah, something, let's say maybe 2000 pixels wide, you know, or tall, that should be enough, you know, because again, it's a live stream. It's not something that we can record in 4K, unfortunately. All right, let's go further down the road and see what we have here. Simon, I'm waving back again. Gonna wave to each other. Why not? Why not? I can see you, you can see me. All right. So Pepper says, I have my record button set twice, so that's cool. That's cool. I need to try that, see if I like it as well. PC is asking, why does the FTZ have to be so big? I think it spoils the look. I do feel like it spoils the look. This is FTZ1, and it's got this tripod mount thing, which technically is pretty good because if you got big lenses, you actually put the pressure mount not on the base of the camera, but kind of in the middle between the camera and the lens. I think that's the idea behind it. But FTZ2 doesn't have this tripod foot, so it's more round, it's better, but it will be big because the idea of the FTZ adapter is to produce, kind of to give you enough space. If I actually think about it as an electronic, it's a spacer that provides also electronic pass-through. And what it does is basically makes the distance between the sensor and the lens the same as it would be on your DSLRs. And remember, the DSLRs would use up this space because it has a mirror that helps go up and down, you know. So that's the reason. So unfortunately, yeah, I personally think if they would make it slimmer, make it more part of the lens, definitely would be more useful. And I guess FTZ2 kind of you know, like improves on the look, let's say, than this, because there's all sorts of issues as well. For some, let's say if you got to like, some people use, let's say maybe grips and things like that, sometimes it just doesn't work so well. So there's all, you know, all sorts of things. But yeah, if you have to buy an adapter now, I would probably go for FTZ2 personally. Okay, more questions in the chat. Let's see. Media saying, trying to decide between the H5 1.2 and planner for my next lens for Z8. Not used 135 before, and I would get more use from H5 focal length. Is 135 just a bit too much for everyday use? What do you think? Well, Media, I think that if you don't have H5mm lens, you should get H5 first. If that's your bread and butter, is that the one you use most of the time, and then eventually add 135. But if you do find yourself that you're shooting mostly on a longer end of things, then choose 135. But me coming from kind of professional portrait photography background, is I would get H5 first and then add 135 later, you know. So, and that's really should do the job. 135 is effectively outdoors use lens. For indoors is going to be too tight, too close, you know. So overall, H5 you can shoot in the studio. You can shoot, like when I was shooting in the studio, again depending on the size of studio you have, but I would shoot with 50, you know, for full height shots effectively, and then H5 for more close up, let's say torso and closer. So sometimes macro, when you need to do some beauty shots where you really need to, you know, kind of fill the frame with the face, because, you know, for makeup and beauty style things, because H5, the focusing distance is too far. Like it would be what I think 1.4, 1.3 meters. So, you know, that's what you would use. 135, I wouldn't be able to really take shots with 135 in the studio work. So for outdoors, though, it's a very different beast. So overall, I think it's a lens with a beautiful character. It's very good. At the time, I tried 135 f2, which was fantastic. Eventually, I swapped it to 7200 2.8 because I did find that I do shoot a lot more action side of things. So like kids running around, sometimes dogs and things like this. So that's where fast autofocus, you know, was better than, let's say, having f2 aperture. So 2.8 was good enough for the time being for me. But again, everyone is different. So my advice personally, yeah, if you have to choose, first buy the lens that you think you'll use the most. Get this lens first, and then eventually add another lens. There's enough difference between H5 and 135 in terms of focal distance that they can both complement each other. It would be a lot more different, let's say, if you got H5 and 105, like they had H5 1.4G and 105 1.4E. Both were amazing lenses. I had both at the time. 105 1.4E is fantastic, beautiful lens, but I had to let it go because I use my H5 1.4G more. So all sorts of things there. But yeah, that would be my answer. Hopefully, that should give you a good idea what you want. Or like what I normally do is just do a list of pros and cons and see where it gets me. Let's go see more questions in the chat. We are getting to an hour time, but I'll stay a little bit longer with you today, so maybe extra 5 minutes or no. So Ron Duran says, Con, any thoughts of Nikon stopping production of some of the f-mount FF full frame lenses? Well, Ron, I think it's like realistically speaking, I think we all understand this will happen. Nikon said that they will support DSLRs till 2025. We are in 2025 now. What's going to happen next? I don't know. D850 is still in production. D780 is still in production. Some lenses are still in production. But from sales figures, and I have access to those, I can't share them, unfortunately, but I can see that for Nikon, DSLRs and lenses, f-mount lenses, have dropped dramatically. It's not like 10-20% drop over year. No, it's a massive, drop, like basically, so into the abyss. So they're not selling enough of those, and from the company point of view, it doesn't make sense to produce something that is no longer in demand. We as photographers, we love this, and but we, at the end of the day, if we're not buying those lenses, then company makes a decision to discontinue all the lenses or free up the the pipeline to produce lenses that are actually in demand. So that's my thinking about this, Ron. We all love them, but it's just a matter of time when Nikon will officially stop making any f-mount lenses or DSLRs. The future is clear. We'll like it or not, but that's the future we are going to. So all mirrorless. Let's see if you got more questions. Otherwise, we will be wrapping up. By the way, no live stream next week because next week is Easter weekend. It's a Good Friday next Friday, so we officially off in the UK. So we will see each other in 2 weeks. If you have any idea about the topics you want to discuss, maybe less gear, more photography, let me know because I want to hear your opinions in the chat. I think we haven't done a film live stream for a while. And I love to talk about film. My passion is film photography. So if you want to hear me, smiling, just and talking a lot about film, we can do that at some point. I want to talk about why you started photography, what motivates you to go out and take photographs. I want to talk about this with you as well. I want to hear your opinion. So we all like to talk gears, but sometimes we need to find different topics to discuss. Me and Gray are preparing this Nikon in the Movies live stream, and he's got a long list of photographs to show you with all the, like James Bond with Nikon S and stuff like this, so all sorts of things. So that's going to come up soon as well. I can see that Joe Vlogs really loves my idea about film. Simon, I'm waiting for you to tell me how expensive the film is. So, yes, whatever topics you guys have, you want us to discuss, I'll be happy to. While I enjoy talking gear, I also enjoy talking photography. So maybe we should talk about that as well. I know we're not going to discuss, let's say, photo books and things like this because 5 of you will enjoy it and 5% of you just will, say it's boring. So let's find the topics that kind of engaging for all of us. Because I want to have a conversation with you, and that's the most important thing about this live stream. It's me talking to you. While it sounds like I talk by myself, what you hear is direct feedback of what you say in the chat and the question you're asking. Jay Blue is asking, what's the Z5II availability date in the UK? In the USA, it's supposed to be 24th, 25th of April. It's exactly the same dates in the UK, so around 24th, 25th. So yeah, and he says, by 2 retailers I spoke to with unsure where they will get inventory. So yes, within UK it's the same. Yeah, 24th, 25th. That's where the shipment will go out. So again, yeah, as I say, Nikon Japan just put out the statement that apparently pre-orders are too high. So so they haven't made enough. But let's see how it goes. Thanks, Simon, for being for the film chat. I know it's not for you. I know it's not your thing, but I think, like one day you tell me, Simon, that, Colin, I've got the film camera and I've shot raw film, and I'm going to be like, yes, my job here is done. I'll be quite happy. I'll be quite happy to hear this. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining me today. And yeah, like the weather is nice. I know that some of you don't have a good weather. We in UK at least, we are lucky so far. But yeah, go take some photographs. Go revisit your hometown. Try to look at it with a different lens. Would be it a lens of a camera or eyeglasses. Find the details that you think shows the character of your hometown. It's not all bad, just because you live there and it sounds boring. I think the idea of you revisiting and you rediscovering certain things and finding. And to be honest with you, I am shooting a roll of film of street photography right now. So in London. So I have my camera with me, and I'm shooting as well for this project because, again, as I told you, I don't have enough time in my life right now to do a bit of photography for pleasure. But tomorrow I will have my FM3A with me. And I'll be shooting, I'll be shooting film, Hopefully it will show you some hometown that I live in, So everyone is personal. Your hometown is personal to you. So that's where I think is important. So I think it's a very personal challenge for all of us. And let's try to do that together and see where we end up with. SJ Blue says, my FM3 and F100 cameras need some usage. Exactly. This beautiful setup. I've got FM3, I've got F100, I've got 2 F100s. They're amazing cameras. F100 was my first film camera. Very underrated. Still can get it for a son on the internet. They're cheap, not for a reason, but just because people like manual film cameras. F100 is fantastic film camera. I mean, if you don't want to buy F6, if you don't buy F5, those big expensive cameras, F100 is the camera to get. So here we are. I wish you a wonderful weekend. I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your Easter. Hope everyone is going to be fine. And yeah, send me your hometown submissions. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.